not everyone wants to do social media, and some people are not doing it by choice. And that's a very conscious choice. For those of you that are here, I'm assuming it's because you want to do it, or you're not dying to do it, but you feel you have to. How many of you feel like you can't hold back from doing it because things will pass you by? Yeah. So whether you're here kicking and screaming or whether you're here by choice and you're really excited about it, either way the end result is you've chosen to do it. How many of you are actively on social media of any kind? So first, raise your hand for that. Okay, good. So we've got a lot of people. So let's just do by show of hands. LinkedIn. How many of you have an active profile on LinkedIn? Okay, actually it's a bigger number than we usually get, which means that either you just happen to be a LinkedIn friendly group, or LinkedIn is catching on a little more, because usually the one that people want to do is Facebook. I'm going to stop and I'll tell you why. Because I'm a really crazy active speaker. I'm Italian, I'm fluent in sign language, so I'm all over the place, and every picture of me speaking, I'm like this. So I decided my new thing now is stop, pose, keep going. But in any event, LinkedIn, Facebook. Okay, how many of you are on Facebook for personal profile, meaning you use your name? Okay, how many of you are on Facebook for your business, meaning you have a business page? Okay, not as many as you, and we'll talk about the difference. How many of you are on Twitter? Okay, much smaller group. Twitter seems to scare the heck out of people. I actually really love Twitter. I'm kind of a little more into Twitter than a lot of other people are. I happen to really like it, but I think that Twitter is a little overwhelming, so unless you sort of know why you're on there and how to use it, it can be a little scary. So what is social media? Without even reading that, what do you think social media is? What would you call it?
A way to see what all my friends and family are doing.
Okay, so that's the personal side. A way to see what my friends, keep tabs. Good.
It's my connection to the whole world.
Connection to the whole world. Love it. Yep. Or at least the whole world that's on social media.
Virtual community.
Virtual community. Very good. What else? Anything we're missing?
Sometimes I think like free press releases.
Very good. Free PR. Absolutely. Shameless self-promotion. It could be your core of sales and marketing representatives. That's your online profile. It's like little people doing work for you at all times. So yeah, you have to expand your definition based on how you want to use it. It allows you to share your content with the whole world, and it gives your prospects a way of knowing, liking, and trusting you. We call that the Klt Factor. The reason people do business with people is because they know, like, and trust them. And so no matter what kind of business, company, nonprofit, whatever you work for, people usually want to do business with other people that they know, like, and trust. So the Klt Factor is huge, and that's why when people say, why would you, even though you use Facebook for business, why would you mention you're going to the Bruce Springsteen concert? For many reasons. We'll talk about that. Some people use an 80-20 rule. They put on 80% personal on their personal profile and 20% business. Other people on their business page will do 80% business and 20% personal. I tend to do pretty much on my business page, pretty much 100% business. I don't say on my business page, going to see Bruce Springsteen, but on my personal page I do. And yet I have a lot of clients and prospects that follow me on my personal page. And the reason why I'm okay with that is because I like to take a holistic approach where they're buying from me, Lisa Montanaro. I am the brand. You may not be the brand for your company. And if so, then you want it, your platform, the way you strategically do this would be more around the business page as opposed to the personal page. So you kind of need to think about what you want to get out of this. It's called Web 2.0. Do you see that down there? Because it's interactive. That's just a fancy term for anything that allows it to be interactive. A blog is Web 2.0 because it allows comments. If you have social media and you close down your wall, there is almost no reason to do social media. You might as well just go ahead and start a new website, because the whole point of social media is interaction and engaging, and people get really ticked off when they go to follow you on Twitter and they can't see your tweets. If it says your tweets are protected, I immediately think you're either a whack job, or there's something wrong with you, or you don't get social media and I won't follow you. Same thing with Facebook. If you start a Facebook page and you close your wall down where no one could post on it, people just stop engaging with you. Facebook, these are a little old now. How old are these?
It's probably about 2 or 3 years old.
This is probably about a year old at least. 450 million users as of probably last spring when Scott and I did this. Twitter was 75 million, 50 million tweets a day, and if Facebook were a country, it would be the 4th largest in the world. That's huge. So why join the social media explosion? And for those of you that are already using it, this will help you also come up with your platform of like how you want to use social media. So first, you could build your credibility and exposure. That's the expert status. Do you want to be perceived as the person in your industry or in your niche? That's the expert status. It's a wonderful way to do that and share it with a huge amount of people. It builds your brand. It gets media attention. And somebody brought that up a few minutes ago. I think it was Danielle. Like publicity-wise, it's huge. And I guarantee you, if I asked any of you right now, have any of you gotten significant media attention from your social media platform? Raise your hand. So you did a blog post about golf, because that's what your new book is about. And plug for you. And then this person said, hey, that looks good. Why don't you come on the radio and speak about it? Because we perceive you as an expert. Okay? Anyone else get media attention from Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, their blog, because I include blog and social media. I have a book that's out, and I got my book deal by using my online presence. I blogged and I uploaded all my articles onto article marketing sites, and I'd share my articles online on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, and a publisher came to me and said, we like your writing style, we're looking for someone, can you write a book? So it happens. Not everyone it can happen to, but it happens. I'm sure Scott, I'm sure the association, Scott's going to talk about some really cool stuff because he doesn't just use social media personally. Unlike me using it for a personal business, Scott is using it for the association. So Orange County Board of Realtors. So for any of you in a nonprofit, okay? So he has a really good model for you in the sense that it's not a personal brand. For him, it's the brand is the association. So it's a little different. Knowledge sharing, resources, links. Do you remember when, I think it was Scully, went into the Hudson River? That was on Twitter before it was picked up by anything else. Okay, so it's now actually a way for people to actually get their news, which is amazing. But also resources and links so that, again, you're perceived as an expert. Let's say that you had not just blogged about that, but you shared a great new article on golfing. Again, it's a way for you to share resources. Market research, okay? Get ideas for running new programs. I'm thinking of rolling out a new program. I'm thinking of having a new speaking engagement. I'm thinking of launching a new product. They become your market research. Your followers on social media are sort of your warm bodies that you can run things by and get ideas from them. Networking and collaboration with peers, with clients, instant communication in real time. There's obviously a direct message feature for almost all of these, and you might not be able to get someone that's really important on the phone, but sometimes you see they're on Facebook at that exact moment, and you could be DMing each other, which is amazing. A broad geographic reach. I have followers around the world. I'm sure you all do too. So I'll be on there chatting with someone and going back and forth in New Zealand, okay? And so I wouldn't have had that type of reach with just, let's say, a regular old business. Increases your web traffic and your statistics. It adds list subscribers. What do I mean by that? Your list is your database. So basically, if you are collecting names for a list so that they become the people that you share your content with, you provide them, let's say, an article every month showing your expertise, free information, discounts on services and programs, that's your list, okay? That's your database. These are people that might come to your list that normally would not have found you. And then permission-based marketing, these are your warm leads. It creates fans, not just prospects. They feel like they know you. Okay, they're like, Joanne, I've been chatting with you on and off for months on Twitter. Now I'm ready to use your services because they feel like they know you. Anything I left out on here that you feel is either a reason you will join, a reason you have joined, or really a big part of your platform of why you want to use social media. Why is there social media resistance? Fear of technology? Some people actually say, I'm not good at technology, or these things are not that hard, but again, it depends on your level of technology skills. Privacy concerns, that is a big one, and you want to be careful with that, and we could talk about that a little bit later. You have to be careful what you say. We call it the New York Times rule. If you don't want it on the cover of the New York Times, you don't put it on social media. Because the minute you put it on social media, it's as if you put it on the cover of the New York Times. Twitter is a completely open environment. You do not have to friend or follow each other to see. If you just go right now and you go onto Twitter and you search Lisa Montanaro, you can see every tweet I've ever tweeted. It's completely open. Facebook is closed only to the people you friended, except, as Scott will show you in a little while, your business page is completely open. It's as if it's another website. So that's completely searchable. And Google, by the way, the Google spiders that go out and search love social media because it's constantly updated. So if you have a Google alert on your name, let's say you set a Google alert on yourself, okay? Vicky Garby, right? Let's say that's the Google alert. Or I not only have a Google alert on my name, my business name, but every article name that I've ever written and my book name, because I want to see if anyone's talking about that out there. So I'll get a Google alert each day about anything that's talked about me on the web. And the Google alerts almost always pick up social media because it's fresher content than things that sit on my website, you know, for like years. I'm not going to spend too much time on the resistance because I assume that you're here so you're ready. But realize that your clients are using it. So wherever your clients are, you need to be. Think of it as a giant cocktail party. So you should not hard sell. Okay, so let's pretend we're at an event, okay, and I walked up to Marky. I wouldn't be like, hi Marky, my name is Lisa, I'm a professional organizer. Are you disorganized? You really probably need my help. What would you do? She'd like be like, ah, you know, that's a hard sell, right? So it's soft sell. Hey Marky, what do you do? How are things? I love that color. Where do you live? You know, it's the same thing on social media. It's the same way you would act at a networking event. You don't want to hard sell on social media because the people that hard sell, like people like Scott and I, just go, no, no, no. We unfriend or unfollow. And, right, it's just, you don't want to hit people over the head with it. So you want to find ways to interact with people about things that you're interested in or knowledgeable about, find connections with people. So you do want to kind of look at it as a giant cocktail party. When you don't know yet how to act on social media, follow the last one here. Watch, learn, and model your behavior after others that use it well. So find someone to emulate, not copy, but, you know, just find someone that's using it well and, you know, kind of like his style. I like the way he posts things, not too often, not every 3 seconds. The things he posts are interesting, they're content driven, they're not annoying, they're not dirty, they're not cursing, you know. You find someone and you model your behavior after them. The big three are LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. I tend to look at them in that order. To me, LinkedIn is a basic threshold. You have to be on LinkedIn as a business person if you want to have an online presence. You do not have a LinkedIn profile. That is the first thing you should do when you leave here because it's basically your online resume. You open LinkedIn, you open your resume on your computer, and you start filling it out. And essentially, I do a lot of career counseling with my clients, and that is where employers are going now to look for people in terms of hiring. And so if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, you almost look like you don't really have a job or you don't really exist. In terms of how to fill it out if you're a business owner, just take a look at a business owner's LinkedIn profile, and it's pretty easy. It's just instead of putting your employment, you put the name of your business right now, and then you put owner or president or CEO or whatever you call yourself. Facebook, obviously a lot of people start Facebook because it's personal. Like a lot of people start it for their friends and family. And if you're really nervous about the personal aspects of Facebook and you want to keep that limited, then my advice to you is you keep it to your personal profile. And when people try to friend you on there that you meet at like a chamber event or something, you tell them, I keep my Facebook personal profile for just close friends and family, and I use my business page to talk to colleagues. And as long as you stick to that, and no one sees that you've got 3,000 Facebook friends, like how big is your family, then I think that it would be consistent. So just be consistent. And then Twitter, obviously, can be used for business or personal, but usually you have one profile. Okay? Now, in terms of like a strategy, if you are your business, like you're the brand, then you might want to use your name for all your personal profiles. Okay? So you would just use your name. Renee Marchant. So it would just be Renee Marchant on all of her profiles except her business one would be under her business name, or her nonprofit association would be under, because I think you raised your hand for that, would be under her nonprofit. You really want to be careful that you don't create fictitious profiles, because if they catch you, they will pull it down. So like you can't really have two profiles as personal profile on Facebook. So if you're like, oh, I'll have one personal profile for my close friends and family where I post pictures of my kids and my vacations, and then I'll have a separate personal profile. If they catch you, they could take either one down and ban you from using it. So I'd be really careful to follow the guidelines. I love this quote. I see the more formal LinkedIn as my office, Facebook as my online living room, and Twitter as the front porch. And that's kind of the way you need to look at it. We have a lot of details on the three. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. So LinkedIn, I call it the button down because it's like, or buttoned up. It's as if you're wearing a button up shirt. It's a little more corporate. You really don't go personal on LinkedIn at all. Okay, there's just, you do not put, like you had a bagel this morning, no one cares on LinkedIn, it's not cute, save that for Twitter, if at all. And so LinkedIn is really more professional. LinkedIn, in my opinion, the real powerful parts of LinkedIn are 2 or 3 things. One is it has recommendations, which are essentially like letters of reference or testimonials on your LinkedIn page. It's awesome. If you're not using it yet, send out a friendly email, put your LinkedIn profile link and send it to some of your best clients and say, I would love it if you could recommend me on my LinkedIn profile, and I will do the same for you. I mean, literally, it's like a resume. Now, if you look, it says 8 people have recommended Lisa. Those are the recommendations. Somebody could jump down and read those if they were thinking of hiring me. Those show you my connections, my websites for my blogs. This is my summary. You write all this yourself, and you write, literally, if you look at it, here's my position, here's the summary. It's like bullets on a resume. Okay, so it's very professional. The other really nice thing is, for me, it brings in my blog posts. I've linked them together. Every time I write a blog post, it automatically shows up on LinkedIn. I do the same thing on Facebook. Every time I write a blog post, it sends it to Facebook, and you can also do. So that's the nice thing, is once you get all this up and running, you can integrate them. Everyone thinks you have to go on everything and post, but a lot of it, like people are like, wow, you're so active. Like, how could you be there? And I know you were also speaking, and because I'm not doing it. It's automatically sending it from my blog post. So that's the beauty once you get it all integrated. Another powerful thing about LinkedIn are called groups. So if you go back up to the top and you hit groups over there, and it says your groups, those are going to show you my groups. Yours would show you your groups. These are associations. That's our young professionals. Scott and I are the co-chairs. That happens to be a chamber member, a Sparkling View. He has a group. I'm a certified organizer. I can go on there and post and talk to other organizers around the country. The groups feature of LinkedIn is really underutilized, but it's really powerful. That is like a listserv for you to go on there and share ideas with people that you want to share ideas with, and talk to them and get access to people that you normally wouldn't have had access to. The last part of LinkedIn that I think is really powerful are called Q&A, questions and answers. And literally, you can post a question or you can answer a question. And unless you think, why in the world would I do that? If you answer a question, you automatically are perceived as an expert, or you have credibility. You're like, hey, I know something about this, let me share my knowledge. If you ask a question, you might get all these people to give you the answers, which you wanted anyway, and you're still perceived as someone that's an expert in that area because you're at least out there asking the question. For those of you that don't have a Twitter profile, you create it. It's very simple. You choose your name. You choose what you want your Twitter moniker to be. You know, mine is @Lisa Montanaro. His is @GadScott. But this is the key. Do you see how he has a little mini bio there? You have 140 characters to tweet, but you have 180 characters to fill in your bio. It's really short. So that bio has to be really targeted and short and sweet, and that's all people see. So if you go, like, that's his profile. That's all anyone's ever going to see about Scott unless they click on the link and go where he's sending them. You have one link on Twitter. So send them to your best place, either your website, your blog, your Facebook business page, whatever funnel you use. If you have a blog, it's a great place to send them because then they can comment. But basically, that's it. It's a tiny little description. And you could change your description at any time. But you basically put up a picture, you put up a basic description, and then you're on Twitter. Now, the thing to Twitter is go to your feed, like your homepage. You've got your timeline, which is your feed. These are all the people that you're following, and you can see what they've been tweeting about. And if you go back up to the top, you have mentions. Mentions is awesome. Mentions is when someone directly tweets using the @ symbol and tags you. So Facebook, it took them a long time to get that feature. Twitter started with that feature. So if you put @Lisa Montanaro, you know, thanks so much for the social media presentation. Here's what happens. You show up. It comes to my feed, okay, because you put @Lisa Montanaro. I get to see it. You show up on my page. It shows up on your page. So it's that cross-pollination that Scott was talking about. And Scott already did one, and so now this is going to show up in my mentions. The other beautiful thing, if you go back to home, yep, thank you. Retweets. Okay, retweets is the power of Twitter. I put up something, like I put up a great new article that I wrote. You retweet it. Your list of 400 people sees it. 15 people retweet it to their list. Do you see the viral effect? Twitter has that viral effect more than anything. The best compliment you can give someone on Twitter is retweet. Years ago when Twitter started, you had to put RT for retweet at Lisa Montanaro and then the rest of my thing. It was a pain in the butt and there was a lot of cutting and pasting. They got really smart now. And if you see Time Ventura and you just go down a tiny bit to see where it says retweet, if he clicked that, he'd retweet that to his entire list. You don't have to paste anything RT, you just retweet. Or if he clicked reply, he would be writing back to them publicly. It brings up a box. Don't let that fool you. That box will now show up in your timeline. The only way you can privately is by hitting a message feature up there. That now is a private message that he can send to someone and no one sees it. That's the in-messaging feature. But if you hit reply, then it goes in your timeline. I just want to make that clear because what happened is now the box never used to come up. Now that the box comes up, it's fooling people into thinking that they're sending a message. They're sending a tweet that shows up, so be really careful with that. There are some tools that Scott loves, and he'll probably show you one. There's called Tweetdeck. It's a desktop feature or an online feature. It helps you organize your Twitter a little better. There it is. It's just a beautiful thing that he could see everything going on. He could see all his friends. It's just really, and now he has it linked. You have Facebook on there too, right?
I have Facebook, Foursquare, and LinkedIn.
His Facebook, Foursquare, LinkedIn, all coming to his TweetDeck, but not Twitter?
Well, Twitter.
And Twitter, okay, yeah. So he has all of his social media basically coming to here. And it will give you all different ways to, what's the word I'm looking for? Filter all the stuff coming in. So if you want to just open one thing, and you don't want to have to go visit Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and Foursquare, if you want to go to one thing, TweetDeck, Hootsuite, H-O-O-T-S-U-I-T-E, is another one. Go to the PowerPoint for 1 second. I think we gave them like a nice slide. A little down. Oh, you know, this is a good one. Just leave this up for 1 second. So a tweet is the post to your Twitter feed. Okay? It is called a tweet. I know it sounds crazy. Oh, wow. Look at you. The @ symbol is used to direct a tweet to a specific user. So let's say Cindy's was Cindy Vasta, and I said @Cindy Vasta. It would directly go to her, but it would show up in my feed. Everyone would see it, and it would show up in her feed, both of ours. At reply, remember, a hashtag. Let's talk about that for a second. By the way, people are like, a hashtag, it's a pound sign, or it's a number sign. Yes, you're right. It is a number sign, it is a pound sign, but in Twitter land, it's known as a hashtag. And so when you're in the Twitter world, that's kind of what you have to call it, otherwise you sound like a total newbie. A hashtag is a way to group tweets around a specific topic. So NAPO is the National Association of Professional Organizers. 10 was their 2010 conference. Every year we do NAPO 09, NAPO 10, NAPO 11. That is the hashtag for people to follow all tweets having to do at that conference. So if I was speaking at a conference, I can start a hashtag. I could say, hey everyone, welcome to the, Hudson Valley Best Business Owners Conference. We're going to call this HVBBE. 10 or 11, we're in 11, and that's the hashtag for today. And what I would expect is my audience, while I'm talking, to be tweeting all these great things I'm saying under that hashtag. And then when I go home that night, I pull up that hashtag in Twitter by just putting in the hashtag right up in the search feature, NAPO, put in NAPO 10, and you will see every single tweet that has to do with that conference. You can start your own hashtag, okay? You can send out an email before your event and say, here's the hashtag for this event. Now, people will often say, why in the world would you want people in your audience sitting on their cell phones while you're talking? Depends on the audience. If it's a really technologically advanced millennial conference, meaning people in the millennial age group, you betcha that I'm going to tell them the minute they sit down. For today, my Twitter handle is @Lisa Montanaro. It's up on the screen, and the hashtag is X. And that's what they want to hear because they're going to go on there anyway. I'd rather know what they're saying. It's like instant feedback or evaluations.
What's your hashtag for today?
I didn't create one, but if you want one, we could do it. We could do OC social media. There you go. You could write whatever you want. Or we could just do OC Chamber if you'd like to have some action on that hashtag.
Well, actually, I used Orange County Chamber yesterday.
Too long.
I know.
That's a good lesson for you. Keep your hashtags short. NAPO 10, OC social, keep them short. Okay, the more people have to type, the more lazy they are. So if you want to, now by the way, if you don't know a hashtag, start searching. Like just search a hashtag for, YW or women's groups or, whatever you're into, search the hashtag and then you can start the conversation. I do not specialize in hoarding. And I've been asked to be on the Hoarders show many times, and I've said no because it's not my target market. But just for the heck of it, I decided to see what people were saying about the Hoarders show. So I put in the hashtag for Hoarders. I was like, oh. So, Dancing with the Stars is a hashtag. I mean, you name it. There's a hashtag, and you could start. So what is called in Twitter land is trending topics. It's called trending topics. There was a hashtag for when Scully landed the plane in the Hudson River. I can't remember what it was. That was a trending topic. H1N1, the virus, remember a few years ago? What was it called? That's the real name, but what was the...
Swine flu.
Swine, thank you. There was a huge hashtag for swine flu. Everyone was talking swine flu. It was all over the place. So it sounds silly, but if you go down, you'll see trends, and these are all hashtags that people are talking about right now. It also will give you examples of who to follow. Now, if you want to know who to follow, go up to who to follow and start typing in names. It is tricky. Scott's right. Twitter is a little bit of a... you have to have pretty much really close to what their Twitter handle is, or it may not find them. Okay? So, yeah. Which is why people do share their Twitter handles. I'm now seeing business cards where it has like your name and your business, and on the front and the back it's got Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Foursquare, and it's all written out.
So Twitter would be like a different email address, you'd make up a new one?
No, you use your email to create a profile. Are you on Facebook? So just like Facebook, you use your real email because that's where your Twitter notifications would go. And then you'd create any Twitter handle, they call it, that you want. Most people use their name, but you can use a brand, you can use like a slogan, whatever you want. It's just got to be 15 characters or less.
But how would people know it's you?
Exactly. Exactly. So she said, how would people know it's you? So I tend to use, usually for my clients, I tell them to use a name because otherwise it's hard to find you. Now, if we tried to search, like if Scott tried to search, well, I'm not a good example because I use my name, but I'm trying to think of someone that doesn't use their name. If Twitter's not being cranky that day, it may pull you up even if you use a different handle because your name is connected to it. Because look at Scott. Scott is, profile. Scott is his name, and you do have to put in your name, but his handle is GAD Scott. So it may pull him up based on his name. It may not. I'm just being honest with you. It's just a little, it can be finicky.
Yeah, it didn't find me.
See, it didn't find him because he uses Gad Scott. Whereas,
over to the right in the green.
Oh, there you go.
there you are. There you are. So it just takes a little longer to find someone if they don't use their name. It's not the end of the world, but it just takes a little longer. So if you're connected very closely to your business, or if you're using Twitter for personal and business, then I recommend you use your name. It's a lot easier for people to find you, and what you want people to do is find you. That's the whole point of being on Twitter. Be careful in your 180 characters that you don't say anything too specific that will ostracize followers. Not sure how to say that without getting politically incorrect, but just be careful what you put in there, because if someone reads it, they could be very turned off. I'm just going to leave it at that. You got 180 characters, use it well. Yeah, it's not technically text messaging, but if you're asking are they using it using an app, the question is yes, because it's so short and easy that most people are using Twitter on the road.
Right.
And and it isn't text messaging, it's actually called microblogging. It's considered a microblogging platform. And you are supposed to answer the question in Twitter, what are you doing right now? Right now, it's just a status update. What's happening? Okay, so they've changed it. What's happening? But yeah, most people do use Twitter from a phone app, so that's a good point. I use Twitter when I'm sitting at my desk at home, my business, when I do my social media. I'll go on Twitter, I'll go on LinkedIn, I'll go on Facebook, I'll check everything out, I'll check my blog, and people always ask, like, how much time does this take? Have a strategy. Say, okay, 15 minutes a day, and I'm going to go on everything, take a look at it. I know people that spend hours and hours a day. It depends what your job is. I mean, if your job is, like this gentleman said, can you get an employee to do that? Sure. And if your employee's part of their job is your social media presence, they may be spending a lot more than 15 minutes a day. If you're running around and you're out servicing clients and taking care of your kids and trying to do all the things in your life, you're not going to be spending 4 hours a day on social media. I think it's better to check social media more frequently for a shorter period of time than to go on there for a long period of time infrequently. It's better, as Vicki said, to know what's going on, so jump in and out for 15 to 30 minutes a day rather than wait to the weekend and then be on there for 5 hours. You want to have more frequent contact than waiting to see, because by the time you look at your feed and you're commenting, people are like, oh, that was last week. My kid graduated high school last week. You know, so I would actually have your strategy be more quick and frequent. Oh, this is a good one. Promoting your social media profiles. Your email signature, my email signature has all my social media profiles. And it's a live link. As our expert over here will tell you, when they click on it, they go directly to my profile. They don't have to cut it and paste it into their thing. So if you want to put it in your email signature, then you should make it a real link, which starts with HTTP:// and then facebook.com/mybestbusiness, By the way, it's not facebook.com/mybusiness.com. It's facebook.com/your business name. That's it. If you put a .com again, it won't go there. The best thing to do is to go to your Facebook page and then copy it in. Go to your LinkedIn page, copy it in. Your blog, obviously, as Edison brought up, is a great place to also let people know that you're social media. If you go to like my blog or his blog or my website, it actually just has the 3 or 4 little images. It doesn't spell it out. It just has like a YouTube image, an in image, a Facebook image, and people know nowadays just to click that and that'll go to all my social media. You don't write it out for them. Business card I mentioned, your brochure, your e-zines and newsletters. My e-zine or newsletter says connect with Lisa. It's got all the little images. And then if you write articles, how many of you write articles online? Okay. How many of you write articles not online, like old-fashioned print? Okay. So either one of those, you have a bio box, right? And it'll say like, Judy Jones is an expert in, financial planning, and you could find more information about Judy at her website, and she frequently publishes articles on her blog at blah, 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 blah. What you may want to also do if you're trying to promote a new Facebook business page is for the next like 15,000 articles you write for the next 6 months is just send people to that page. Okay? So that would be like a nice way to redirect everyone. You can find a lot more information and like our business page and get frequent updates, daily updates at facebook.com/mybusiness. So that would be like another way to use this to promote. And then your bio can also have old-fashioned bio, just had your website, maybe your blog. Now a bio will also have all your social media. So just go back up to the really early one. There was a really early one that says your social media strategy, and I want to cover that here. So be clear about your objectives and budget your time wisely. How many of you are going on social media daily? Okay. If you are you doing it by your phone or by your computer? Both. Okay. And how many of you feel like you're spending, let's say, 15 to 30 minutes a day? How many of you are spending 30 to 60? How many of you are spending 60 plus? If you're spending 60 plus, is it part of your job?
Yes.
Okay, totally different. So thankfully you're the only one that raised your hand. That's good. That's good. Because that's the problem people get fearful of. There are a few time-saving measures. One of them, I would say Scott is really good at Tweetdeck. So if any of you are interested in that, chat with him. That's that really cool software platform that he showed you. I use ping.fm, Ping.fm. It is not pingfm.com. It is ping, Ping.fm. Ping, you sign up, it's free. You literally put in your email, choose a password, and then it asks you which social media you belong to. You click on them and your passwords for each one of those. Every time you post something to Ping, it pings it out to all your social media and updates your status for you. Done. Once. Now, few things. If it's over 140 characters and you use Ping and you're on Twitter, it will only ping the first 140 characters and it gets cut off and it looks really bad. So if you're going to use Ping, and you're going to include Twitter, know that you want to do 140 characters or less. Like that's your litmus test. Don't go over 140. The other thing about ping is it's outgoing only. So you're sending out something and then you're not there when people are replying and commenting, and after a while you become known as a social media snob because you just like throw up on people but you never like intake, you know. So be careful with ping. The power of ping is when you have something really important to share and you want to just get it out there and you don't want to have to retype it. Like if you wanted to promote the next show, ping would be great. It would just ping it all out. One time putting in the URL, one time putting in the link to send people to, and that's it. But if you want to engage with people, then go on Facebook or go on LinkedIn or on Twitter, does that make sense, and have conversations. So only use ping when it's something you really need to outgo. Twitter does generate traffic to your blog. Scott brought up Bitly, you know, will track things. I use Google Analytics. It's free. It's amazing that it's still free. It is so powerful. It tells me who's clicking on my blog posts, from where in the world, literally. It'll show me a geographic breakdown of a map, where they came from in terms of like did they come over from Facebook, or did they come over from LinkedIn, did they come over from my website, was it organic, like a Google search that they did? So Google Analytics would be a really great, powerful thing. You must be using those big time, yeah. Twitter does generate traffic to your blog. Facebook is good to promote teleclasses, webinars, or products on your business page. LinkedIn does promote association conferences. You can post your articles on any of these. You can show your expertise by answering questions. And if you have a blog, it's really good to use it as a home base. If you don't have a blog, then you may want to use your website. I don't think there's anything else about, yeah, this is a good one too. LinkedIn, 100% professional, period. Okay? Facebook and Twitter, you want to mix in some social posts. Now, why would I say that? If you're all here to promote your business, why would I say to sometimes mix in a personal post?
So people know you better.
Makes it more friendly. Relationship building. Otherwise, you look like a drone, right? It's like, I only talk business 24 hours a day, you know. It could get a little boring, especially if your topic's boring. If your topic's juicy and cool, then maybe you don't need to mix in a ton of personal. But, you know, if you're dealing with dry topics, then you may want to mix in. And by the way, how personal? There's personal and then there's personal. So, you know, you want to have like, you know, friendly, personal, but nothing too deep. Well, not deep, that's not the right word. Nothing too personal, confidential. Be careful with confidentiality. I tell people, I'm amazed how many people on Facebook have their birth date on there. I'm like, there should be no birth date on Facebook ever. Okay? And if you want to put your birthday, like March 25th, do not put the year, because from an identity theft standpoint, now they got your whole birth date. Now all they need is 2 other pieces of identity, because they only need 3 pieces of identity to steal someone's identity. So if you're worried about privacy, don't put your birth date on there. If you're really worried about privacy, don't put where you went to high school. Don't put the year you graduated. And it's not a vanity thing in terms of not wanting people to know how old you are. It's more that you don't want them to figure out your birth date. What else? Yeah, don't be a social media snob. I love this quote. I can't remember who said it. I think it was Seth Godin. Be interesting, be helpful, or be quiet. That's a really great, nice little guideline for social media. Be interesting, be helpful, or just be quiet. And by the way, there are some people that feel bad. They're like, I'm on social media, but I'm a lurker. And I'm like, ooh, that doesn't sound good. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, you know, I sort of watch and listen, but I don't really post a lot. And that's okay. If that's part of your strategy of intaking information, figuring out who the movers and shakers are, and getting great content and things like that, that's fine, as long as you're not a lurker in a weird sense. So let's talk about that for a second. How many of you have gotten Facebook friend requests from people that you absolutely don't know and that look really wacky? Yeah, okay. Use your judgment, right? And usually when they start off with, hey Lisa, I love your smile, I'm like, ooh, not good, you know. People say, how do you know? I don't know. How do you know when someone's picking you up at a networking event? I mean, it's the same thing. It's life. You kind of get an idea. I have on my personal profile, it says married. So I don't put my birth date, but I put my marital status. Because, A, I'm extremely proud of my marital status, love my husband, but also I think it's a good thing for people to know, right? So that might be something to think about. That, you know, if you want to send the right message, that maybe you put certain things on there. And it is absolutely fine not to accept a friend request. And it's absolutely fine to not accept a friend request and not even reply, because sometimes that's what they're looking for. People say, how do they find me? Because Facebook is a closed environment where you have to friend each other. They just search. They just search, and they just, pull up anyone. Remember, even though it's private, you can still see someone's photo, and you can still see a tiny bit of like who their friends are. Vicki said it doesn't also depend on, if you like a business page, remember that business page's wall is completely public, and every time you post on that business page's wall, everyone can see you. So now what they'll do is they'll click on your name, Vicki, and then it'll say send a friend request, and they'll send a friend request and say, hey, I noticed that. Now, by the way, that could be a really wonderful business building technique. It could say, hey, Vicki, I noticed that you and I both like the same financial planner. I've been using Tom for years. Whatever, we should connect and have coffee. I haven't joined the chamber yet. That's different. You'll know when that's normal. You'll also know the other way. One thing to think about is if you're really worried about it, then every time you post on a business page, you could switch and only post as your business. Okay, then they never see your personal profile ever, if you're really, really worried about it.